George.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here. I'm a local restaurateur here in Moscow, Idaho. I own a couple of restaurants. And as you can imagine, I'm just going to give you a brief history of what happened to our industry. So as you all remember, back in March, the pandemic really hit and the state started to shut down. And at the time, the state made a decision to shut down all restaurants to indoor dining. The governor declared an emergency. And basically it hit restaurants pretty hard. The thing with restaurants is that they are, the kinds of restaurants that I have, as you can see from this picture, is that they're not designed primarily as a takeout venue, they're designed as an indoor dining venue. And it was really, it was a really scary time. We didn't know how we were gonna deal with it. So we had to pivot very quickly to become a takeout restaurant, essentially. And you can kind of see to the left of the picture how there's a bunch of boxes there, and we started buying supplies for storage, etc. And it was a really trying time. We had to unfortunately lay off a lot of people that were able to come back, but we were able to successfully pivot to being a takeout restaurant. And then the city of Moscow also stepped in and partnered with restaurants to try to create exterior dining spaces or amplify the exterior dining spaces, because as we got in more science, we saw that the effects of the virus were mitigated by not only social distancing, but also by being outside and having lots of fresh air. So the city, at the time, they did some innovative things for our city. They turned a lot of our parking spaces into takeout parking only to facilitate doing takeout. And they also let us expand into the common spaces, the sidewalks, in order to do outdoor patio dining. At this time, also, myself and other restaurateurs across the state started talking and to try to kind of weather the storm. And we formed an organization called FAIR Idaho. And FAIR Idaho stands for Food, Agriculture, Restaurants, and Beverage Establishments. And our goal essentially was to represent independent food and beverage in the state of Idaho, because we had no voice with the governor's office, with our senators, with our representatives, whereas the big food producers and the big restaurant chains have lobbyists and they've always known the value of organizing and paying people to advocate for them. We didn't have that in place and we were caught flat-footed. So what we did at FAIR Idaho is we formed this organization so that we could start sharing knowledge, but at the same time also be able to advocate and have a united voice when going to our elected officials and talking to them about the unique needs of our industry. So, I mean, some of the things that came about was things like you're seeing here, the downtown dining, which expanded, right? Some of these conversations. Liquor licenses were amended to allow us to do takeout cocktails, for example, to do, people just had to pivot really quickly. It was, in many ways, it was like building a parachute while you're falling 10,000 feet up in the air. We're trying to stitch the parachute together. So we started talking with our elected officials also to try to see about how we can amend legislation. You all heard of PPP, I'm assuming that was all in the news to try to help us. And it was about amending PPP to suit the needs of restaurants, right? Because we were supposed to spend this money within 8 weeks, and then they recognized that for restaurants, that wasn't reasonable. When you shut us down, we're at a quarter of our capacity. We can't employ people and put them right back to work, because you can't work from home as a server or as a cook or as a prep cook in a restaurant that has diminished capacity. So what we were able to do is get that expanded to 24 weeks. And then because we all got together, we started doing other things like coming up with other initiatives to try to get the dining public to feel safe coming to our restaurants again. So we had, we came up with a dine and drink safe pledge and also the shop safe pledge, so that businesses could sign up for this, and there were criteria that they had to meet to be able to say that they were taking a part in this. The president at the University of Idaho, Scott Green, graciously got really behind this as well. as the great man. I think BSU also signed on to this. And we were able to hopefully, do some things to make sure that our businesses fare a little bit better than most. We were also very fortunate that the leadership that was exhibited by our city leaders, our city council and the mayor, was exceptional. They shut down the city of Moscow before anybody else did in the state. We were the first city to shut down our restaurants. We were the first city, I believe, to have a mask ordinance. And that made an outsized difference, I believe, in the death rates that we've had in Leyte County, as well as the infection rate. It was handled really, really well. The university did a great job of it. I think the businesses responded well. And I'm happy to say that I can't say that we're thriving, but we're surviving very well. And hopefully, I don't think you're seeing many restaurants that are closing shop in Moscow. So we've been really fortunate in that we think that doing stuff with FAIR has made a difference in uniting people around common initiatives to make everybody feel safe, and also to go about doing things safely.
So we have a couple questions in here. You may have alluded to this a little bit, but how long did it take you to pivot from dine-in to takeout? And then after making that change, did the sales make up for the losses in dine-in, or maybe even surpass it?
So we pivoted overnight. I mean, literally, we had a staff meeting on a Wednesday, talked to everybody, talked to the managers, had a meeting on Sunday night to let everybody know that